Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Sales Spotlight. I'm your host Anil, and today we have a very special guest with us, Roman from BetterContact. Roman is a very prominent personality on LinkedIn. If you're following trends on LinkedIn like cold email outreach and data enrichment, then definitely you might have been reading Roman's content over there. I have been reading his content. Literally love his content over there. So yeah, Roman, welcome.
Thanks a lot, Anil. And first of all, also big shout out to your content, right? I mean, I've been following your podcast for a while now, and definitely great stuff. And thanks a lot for having me today.
Yes, thank you. So, in today's podcast, in today's episode, we'll talk about data enrichment, waterfall enrichment, and few other stuff as well. What are the risks and what are the benefits, and how the entire data enrichment domain is going, what is the future, and few more updates. So, before we move ahead in this entire conversation, Roman, I would love to know about little bit about your background and what led you to start Better Contact. Over to you.
Yeah, sure. So currently, I'm the co-founder at BetterContact, right? And before that, I was working in a mix of startup and also corporate. And it basically started already in software at a startup, and it was definitely a great experience. I really enjoyed it, right? That's also why I'm back now at BetterContact. And I also had like a short time where I was working in the corporate world, which was nothing that I really enjoyed that much. And like the reason why Better Contact is because out of whatever reason, I don't know why, like my job was always in a way to enrich leads, right? To find emails, find mobile phone numbers. And the problem was that we always had one provider at the current company, right? And became very tiresome to only find like a fraction of emails or also mobile phone numbers for these people for the lists that have been created by the BDRs or also by the um, by the other functions. And so what I did at some point then was asking for new subscriptions for new providers and basically taking the CSV file of emails in that case and then putting that through a verification tool and then through the next provider. And so basically a very tiresome thing. And basically I wanted to solve that. So I created like this workflow in like make.com, right? And became like, I mean, it worked well. It became very fragile and quite expensive in the end. That's when I met Fred, who's my co-founder. He basically put that already in some type of software. And ever since then, like we brought it to market.
Yeah, it's a great that you started, and these days everywhere we hear a lot about waterfall enrichment technique, right? So, what exactly it looks like and how it enhances the quality overall?
All right. So the idea behind waterfall enrichment is that you do not rely only on one data provider, but by combining a lot of different data providers, you basically increase the coverage. So this means the amount of emails as well as mobile phones numbers that are being found for your leads. And you also increase the quality, right? Because you not only rely on one database, but on several ones. And also the good thing about waterfall enrichment is that and when done right, there is like always a verification layer between each provider. And let's take a practical example. For example, you have 1,000 people that you want to find the email address for. So you would put that in a waterfall enrichment machine, for example, into Better Contact. And Better Contact will take these leads and then request the first provider, right? And let's say the first provider finds around 600 emails and these 600 emails will be then pushed to the verification tool to see if these emails are actually valid or if they're not valid. And if they're valid, that's good. They will be put aside. And the ones that are invalid and the ones that have been previously not found by this provider, so 400, will be put to the next provider, right? And this basically goes on until all the providers have been requested or all of the emails have been found, right? And on average, in order to get around 80% finding rate, we need to request around 5 providers. And yeah, that's basically Waterfall Enrichment in a nutshell.
Yeah, this is a great way to enrichment, I think. And I also heard that you guys were the one of the initial folks who started waterfall enrichment in the market, right?
Yeah, exactly. So basically, we offered this solution already as like a service provider in a way, like as type of an agency, right? And then around 1.5 years, we brought it to market, and we were, as you've mentioned, the first ones. And yeah, because it's such a nice technology, we got a lot of people, a lot of new entrants, companies that also offer waterfall enrichment now. But yeah, it started with better content.
Okay. And one more question, like there are a lot of other various sources, right? You get data from, for example, Apollo, Zoom Info, and few other providers as well, right? Then how you manages all the sources over there, and because they charges on the different mode, right? Everyone
Yeah.
has their different pricing models. Then how do you manage them?
Yeah, it's a great question. So basically, when we started with BetterContact, the option existed to basically like put these providers right, and you can choose which provider should be put first. And we saw that this was quite inefficient in a way that the results were not that good, right? So around 6 months ago, we started creating Better AI, which is a machine learning algorithm, and it analyzed the output of all of these providers, looked at the strengths of these. Let's say Apollo's good in the US in a certain industry, or yeah, Hunter IO is good in France. And then this algorithm basically, before you upload a lead list, looks at it and then says this lead list primarily has leads from, let's say, France, and they work in the software industry. And then our Better AI basically looks at our providers and tailors like the perfect sequence, right? It might not be the most cost efficient way from our side, right? Because we could just put the least expensive provider first and then keep requesting. But we've seen that it had a pretty big uptick in data quality and also coverage.
Okay. And I just about to come up on the question where again I have one more question, that how you guys decide quality of the data. So I think you answer that you have a machine learning system and you analyze accordingly. Apart from that, any other criteria you guys look after?
Yeah, it's also a good question we get, of course, asked pretty often. And first of all, always when we add a new data source, we do a proof of concept, right? Which is around 1 month, and we internally test it with yeah, with our list, with our way of approaching those tests. And of course, if the data quality is bad after the testing of this 1 month, we will not include it. And even if we made a mistake, right? Even if there was some type of error in the data after this 1 month and we push it to our users, we always have verification layers, right? That's also a pretty good thing about Better Contact. Between every email finder, we put use bouncer, like a verification tool, to see if the email is actually good. And if it's not good, we will keep requesting the next providers, right? And we only charge credit when the email is actually a good one.
Okay. And I think that is a great approach because quality is everything at the end of the day.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and also maybe to
Yes.
add, which is quite important. I mean, quality in a way is like very important, of course, because if it's not a good email, you won't reach the right person, right? But also, what always needs to be considered is if you send to a lot of bad, invalid emails, your sender reputation gets harmed, right? And the domains that you've bought, or even if it's like your company domain, gets burned pretty quickly, right? So I like always recommend to put like this emphasis on data quality.
Mhm. Got it. And how better contact integrates with cold email outreach platform and some other platforms? Is there any functionality available in that?
Yeah. So currently we are like like officially and also natively integrated into Google Sheets, and we are more and more working on also on our outreach integrations because that's like a highly requested feature, right? We got a lot of agency users, and this will be ready probably within a week. So you heard it here first. And yes, so we're also planning to, of course, integrate then outreach tools like Sales Handy, for example. And yeah, and other than that, we're working more towards CRM integrations and all of that. So to make like better contact a more interconnected tool, right? To make it easier for the user.
Yeah, that's good because in era of 2024, AI automation and APIs matters a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, exactly. So we have an API, right? And we're also like trying to make it easier for people that try to automate through make.com or Zapier to also like offer native integrations there.
Got it. So we have discussed about the data enrichment and lead quality, but now as a data business, right, or data
Yeah.
enrichment platform, what are the common challenges you guys face in terms of business, right, these days?
Right. So I think there is like different challenges being faced by single providers, right? The ones we integrate and waterfall enrichment. So maybe to start with single providers, for example, Apollo or Drop Contact, all of these. I think what they face, the problem is data accuracy, right? So a lot of people, like, I mean, everyone that basically is pretty experienced also in cold email outreach, what they do is after they enriched the file with these vendors is basically putting that through a verification tool, right? Which adds extra complexity to the workflow, right? And you miss out on a lot of emails which you previously had to pay for. So this is one. And I think competition is very fierce. I mean, data is like very commoditized, especially emails. So I think for email finders, it will become harder and harder. I mean, like a very good keyword you just mentioned is AI. So this will enable to always find easier the emails, right? Because mostly these tools are algorithms, and the stronger the computing power, the better the algorithms. The easier it is to find an email, and this will like ultimately lead in like these price wars, right? We already see it. We see email providers that find emails for 0.000 something, right? And yeah, so on the waterfall enrichment side, which we faced and are of course always facing as volume increases, is the scalability, right? So you have to imagine it as like a pool of APIs, right? The waterfall enrichment, how it works in the background. And it's of course like in a way fragile. And if some API is not working, then there of course can occur errors. And we had like pretty big problems with scaling like waterfall enrichment in a way that it's like quick. I mean, we see our competitors who are struggling a lot with that. And yeah, I think these are like the main pillars, right? Commoditization of the data space, like a race to the bottom regarding the pricing. And yeah, basically for single providers as outreach becomes more globalized and people want to not only reach out to people from their countries, their database or algorithm probably won't do it anymore like as a single data provider.
I also can see that these days a lot of cold email outreach tool. I see every one more tool launched in the market.
Yeah, exactly. It's
So
extremely competitive. Yeah, that's for sure.
yes, yes. So Roman, as per you, what advice would you give to sales professionals who are looking to improve their data enrichment process?
Sure. So I think the a very important concept is which basically applies to everything in life is like this garbage in, garbage out, right? So the most important thing in data enrichment is actually the input data, right? So if you give a data enrichment tool bad input data, let's say a wrong first name or a incorrect LinkedIn URL or yeah, just some type of error in your data, it also can't do anything with it really. So it's very important to source data from good sources. And I mean, Apollo is a good one. Of course, the accuracy is not that good, but I always recommend in a way LinkedIn Sales Navigator or just LinkedIn. So this is one thing. And I mean, what's also very important is what I've just discussed, right? If you have a very like globalized outreach, right? If you're not only reaching out within your country, it's important to leverage different data sources, right? Because what we've understood over like the last 1.5 years and longer is that every data provider has a specific strength in a specific industry and geography, right? So um, it won't cut it anymore if you just rely on one data provider. So I definitely recommend you to have a look into Waterfall Enrichment. And yeah, maybe like a quick thing that still quite many don't do is like verify your data, right? We've just discussed it. It's like very important to do proper data verification, because it's not only that you can't reach out to that person in the end, but you will damage your domain reputation, right? And this is often irreparable.
Yeah, true, true, true. And the final question: what is next for Better Contact? And where can our listeners go to learn more about your tool and its capabilities?
Sure. So we plan to keep adding more great data sources. I mean, you just mentioned it. There are like more and more data sources coming onto the market with great new technologies and databases. So this is definitely one of our focuses to keep an exchange with these data providers and also do like these proof of concept testings with them so they can eventually be integrated into BetterContact. So this is one, because we really want to like maximize data coverage and quality, right? So the idea is to also be focused on mobile phone numbers and emails, and not adding other data dimensions, because we really want to like keep dominating that space. And also what we're planning to do is keep adding great features. I think I'm not sure if like it's very much a public thing, but we've added on our website actually like, which is like more intelligence to the waterfall. So how we currently are doing it is that we look at the geography of your lead lists, right? Are they from France, either from the US, from India, wherever? And then we basically tailor this sequence, right? So if it's from the US, we might put Apollo first, or if it's from let's say France, we might put Hunter drop contact first. And this is something we will keep on adding, right? We want to make this algorithm more intelligent on different dimensions. So, for example, the industry and also other things like the company size. So this is something we keep on adding. And thirdly, we're planning to make it more of an integrated tool, right? I mean, you just mentioned it's 2024. It's a very fragmented market. So people are basically flooded with new
True.
solutions. So it's like pretty hard to like find a good sales stack, and we do not necessarily want to be a part like a step in that sales step, but rather like directly integrated into where you already are, which might be like an outreach tool, which could be a CRM. So Salesforce, HubSpot, all of these. So this is something we're working on, right? Like integrations with platforms like Sales Handy, definitely something we're eyeballing. And yeah, that's our focus.
Quite interesting roadmap, Roman. Quite interesting.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
mean, if you have any recommendations, anything you'd like to see, then please always open.
Yeah, definitely. Better Contact plus Sales ID is fire.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes. Okay. So, Roman, it's time for rapid fire round. I'll be asking few questions back to back. So,
Sure.
cold calling or cold emailing, which one is more effective?
So I think it's the same with like data sources, right? You can't say which one is more effective. It's always the best to combine things. So what I would always recommend, because it's just more cost effective and also less time consuming, and you can also do it better at scale, is sending out a cold email, right? This is like a way to like gauge like interest and also have this first touch. And if there's like in the sequence no response or whatsoever, I would always recommend after around 2 emails, a phone call if you have the resources and also capabilities regarding like the time side, and also because you like need to plan around 20 minutes for a phone call if it's going well, so that's quite a long time. And also, the thing that we more and more see also with our own outreach is the warmer the lead, the more it makes sense to reach out to that person directly via phone number, right? Via telephone. Because, for example, like our B2B, I mean, it's a great tool, right? It's like this website identification tool. And if you get the email from that prospect, I think it's better to like do a mobile phone outreach, right? Because this means if your prospect already visited your website, he's interested in a way, right? So he's warmer than something that you basically just found on LinkedIn and then you put it in your lead list. So the warmer the lead, the more it makes sense to directly do a phone call.
Got it. What is your favorite data source from a quality perspective?
Yeah, I think it's a tough question, right? Because we aggregate a lot of different ones, and I mean, we know their individual strengths and also maybe their weaknesses. So might be a little bit unfair to say what's my most favorite one, right? I mean, we have, of course, different preferences in a way, but it would be unfair to like compare them, right? Because every one of these has a different strength, geographically speaking, industry speaking, and also on other different dimensions. So yeah, like the magic happens when you combine them.
Yeah. And what is one mistake one should avoid while doing data enrichment? One mistake only.
Yeah, one mistake only. So I think it basically boils down to this, garbage in, garbage out, right? So always put an emphasis on the quality of the leads that you source. So always put an emphasis on a good data source, which I always recommend to be LinkedIn, or you can also use Apollo. And yeah, I mean, you just ask for one, but second one would be, of course, use Waterfall Enrichment.
Yeah, definitely. Plus one for data of waterfall enrichment. One LinkedIn influencer you recommend everyone should follow.
All right. So, I mean, I'm following quite a lot, and which the one that is standing out because I think he really conveys it very well, also on this like human level, is Adam Robinson, right? I mean, I've just talked about our B2B, and I think he has a very great way of like conveying his message, and he does this like in a very approachable way, like very down to earth. And yeah, I mean, not only from the way he delivers this, I think there is something to learn a lot from, especially from his CEO. I think it's Santosh. So he's especially like interesting from my perspective, right? Because he's been working in the data enrichment space for quite a while now. So yeah, that's definitely two people I recommend to like listen to, especially when you want to learn more about data enrichment. And yeah, that's basically the people I would recommend
Yeah,
like right now.
I also follow Santos and Adam. Both literally share gold content on LinkedIn these days.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
100%.
got to
So I
learn a
mean,
lot out of that.
yeah, definitely. So I think what Adam also maybe like regarding like the podcast now, what he says like everyone, for example, Sales Handy, everyone has their own super fans, right? So Sales Handy has like quite a lot of them, right? It's a pretty established brand, so it's like as a B2B founder, it's always very great to be on podcasts, right? And I think this is what he's doing quite well. He will probably be on the Sales Handy one pretty shortly, I guess. So yeah, that's always something I recommend lately. Talking to industry leaders, and yeah, just spreading the word.
Yeah. So it's time for wrap up. Thank you so much for sharing kind of insights on data enrichment about the market trends and what is coming in future. Right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to the episode.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Okay. Bye.
Nice.